Don't mind us. We just have a wonderful conversation getting ready to start that kind of came out of nowhere. Joining us now, Alderwoman for the 4th Ward, Rosie Brown. How are we doing today?
I am doing wonderful, thank you.
And then we also have the founder of the Juneteenth Celebration of Freedom here in Alton, Joyce Elliot. How are we doing today?
Doing wonderful.
So let me do this real quick, adapt on the fly, and let's pull this in a little bit tighter because that music's getting a little bit louder. But let's really talk about this. You know, Miss Elliot, how did you start the event? How did this all come together 33 years ago?
Actually, I was at a conference in Texas, and I was at a conference in Texas, NAACP National Convention, and I believe it was the year of 1986. I can't remember the year now, but anyhow, I was there, and I was at the Brown Convention Center, and saw a newspaper, and the headline was Juneteenth. I said, "What the heck is Juneteenth?" And and I began to read the article, and I'm like, this sounds interesting. So when I began to identify, they're talking about my heritage. I'm like, wow, nobody taught me this. I said, so let me do a little research. And I did. I told the children, I had taken about 8 kids with me to Texas, and I told the children about it. I said, you know what? We're missing out on something. And so they had actually had the celebration the month before, but these papers were still lying around because it was in July that we were there. Right. And so anyhow, we came back and talked about it, researched it. And so I turned around, I said, you know what? We need to do this in Alton. Yep. And so I did. We got a little thing going with the youth council. And so we decided to try it out, have one in the backyard. And it went so well, and everybody said, we ought to do this. So I wrote to the city council and asked for permission to have it here at Salute Park, and we've been having it here ever since. We've had, first the city was involved, and then after the city, we was able to get the county involved. After the county, I was able to get the state involved, and I'm seriously, and I'm like, oh my gosh, just so many things, just developed over the years. And I can't leave out people who were instrumental, such as Josephine Beckwith, Reverend Bruce, and a few others that could help me, Mrs. Monroe, Grace Monroe, people who encouraged me, said, you can do it, I was that quiet person, but I'm not the quiet person anymore. So, but anyhow, that's how, and then I took it to the NAACP branch, and I asked them what they'd like to do it, and I didn't get the support that I needed there. Okay. So the kids, the youth council, and we kept it going. Yes, we kept it going.
No way, what a story.
Youth council.
Not to pull it away real quick, but to hear that, number one, that shows you at home that if you believe in something, to keep on knocking on doors because you're going to accomplish it, number one. Number two, the youth council stepping up to really elevate this and to keep it going, that's got to be one of the most amazing feelings.
Rosie was a part.
I was going to say,
she was a part of the youth council.
This lady goes way back. I came through the ranks. I came up the steps and not the elevator because I listened to people like Mrs. Joyce Elliot.
What a story! Hold on here. This is taped live, so let me get this closer to you so we can hear you, Rosie. So how long have you known Miss Joyce, and so you were a part of the youth council?
Yes. I've been a part of this community, born and raised here. I've been knowing Mrs. Joyce Elliot ever since I was probably 4 years old. All my life, and I just thank God that she has been in my life, her among many mentors in our city. And to me, Juneteenth is a day of awareness.
Yes.
Awareness.
I totally agree with you on that.
Yes.
And can I say something, not to patronize both of you, but you turned a day of awareness into a day of community celebration too. And that's amazing to me.
It is. It is. People look forward to this. They come from near and far. I believe this is the biggest Juneteenth celebration in our city, in our community, and 25, 30-mile radius.
It's the biggest in the state so far.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this because over the years I have traveled. I passed the torch in 2012 so that I could go about Illinois and see what was happening as far as Juneteenth was concerned. I've even been to Iowa to check theirs out, Arkansas to check theirs out. And we have the largest in the state of Illinois as far as Juneteenth. But see, this is minor compared to what Juneteenth, how it grew. Because we started out with the backyard, then we had the park, and then we started doing a 3-day celebration, and then we had a week-long celebration, and then we had to cut it back, eventually because of the people who were involved in it became so, kind of like out of touch and spreading in their communities. So people came here to see what Juneteenth was all about so that they could go back home and start Juneteenth there too. So yes, so Madison, Venice, and Granite City are part of the Juneteenth celebration, and East St. Louis from Alton Juneteenth. Yes, so I've gone to these communities and helped them to get theirs started too. So
I am not going to lie to you. This is the coolest conversation I've had in a few months, because this is living history, walking history. And Rosie, Alderwoman Brown, let me ask you this as we keep this conversation going. A young Rosie Brown, 33 years ago, okay, would you expect to see generation upon generation, number one, stepping up and keeping Juneteenth celebration going, but seeing yourself in a leadership role here? This is a full circle moment that I think is, thank you for letting me be a part of this conversation. This is wonderful.
I just want to say to God be the glory, to my parents who have just built in me, given me the tools that I need to make it to be a true person, a give back person, a service person. And I just want to say I love the city of Alton, and I'm so proud that this is hosted in my ward, the 4th ward, every year. And the people come out, they feel good, they feel relaxed. Everything is just flowing really, really good today.
And now before,
one thing I didn't tell you, and she didn't mention either. See, it takes a village to raise a child. I lived next door to her, quote, grandparents, who were very instrumental in my life, and that was at the age of 10, they moved next door to me. And so they were very instrumental, impacting. I met her mother back then, way before Rosie was thought about. And so her mom was like a big sister. The grandparents were like grandparents. And we just pass it on from one generation to the next. But I want to say this, her involvement with the NAACP during the time of my involvement with the NAACP, we were able to learn a lot of things by attending the conferences that gave us that education to keep us moving forward, growing consistently, and bringing it back to our community to share with others to make things happen. And you have to be persistent.
Yes.
A lot of people say, no, it will never be done. You can't do this, you can't do that. But I say, with God, all things are possible.
now look at him.
It's ironic. I am now president of our Alton branch of the NAACP.
But I was her youth council advisor for the NAACP and for the state of Illinois. Yes.
Well, all I know is this. Before I say goodbye to you, we had to share a story. We were talking. She goes, Nasello, Uncle, what about Pete Nasello? He was an alderman at one point in time. We'll just leave it at that,
Yeah. Well, Pete was good. We had our little run run-ins, but we always remain friends.
That's wonderful. Thank you guys so much for the few minutes. And come out to Juneteenth, Killion Park. A quick.
I can't let you close without acknowledging some others now. I did say it. But Barham has been a part of it with the exception of the first 2 years. He's been there 31 years. So, I applaud him. He's another person that they said, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. But look what he's gotten. The park is named after James Killion.
That's right.
So all these people were instrumental in all of our lives. So we're thankful to God for what they've done to lead us in the direction of which we have been able to accomplish. So our vote. Thank you.
I love it. We'll take a quick break from James Killion Park. The 33rd annual Juneteenth Celebration of Freedom continues, and we'll be talking to Lee Barham right after this on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.